The second phrase in John chapter 8, verse 12. He who follows me. That's the second phrase in Jesus' words. He who follows me. This is all about following Jesus. Hopefully, if you're here, you're following Jesus. Hopefully, if you're taking time out in the midst of the craziness of all the options online and you're watching a church service, hopefully you're following Jesus. We don't like to be followers. We want to be leaders, so we have that problem. We prefer to follow like it's some kind of gym membership or a political candidate or a celebrity. We want to check in to see what they're doing, but not really live our lives by the difference. It's shocking that we get following Jesus wrong. But we do. We do, because the whole world is messing with our idea of following. You don't raise up your child going, oh yeah, be a follower. I sure hope you grow up to be a sheep. Those aren't statements we normally say. Following Jesus is a call to a lifestyle of submission and surrender. And we don't teach those values either. We don't praise the value of submission and surrender. But that's what it takes to follow Jesus. Submission and surrender. Sir, yes, sir. Not, hey, here's my 12-point plan. Would you bless it? Or, here's why that doesn't apply to me. I can see how that's good for most people, but I'm the exception. Submission's hard for us. Surrender is hard for us. We so bad want to be the shepherd instead of the sheep. And sheep follow the shepherd. They know the shepherd's voice. They know the shepherd's call. They trust the shepherd. It's about a dependent relationship where we can totally trust him. We can totally trust him because we know he has our best interest at heart. He's gonna take care of us. We may not know the way through the storm, but it's all right because he's going to take care of us. We may be sick of carrying the pain and suffering, the torture device, the cross, but he's going to take care of us. We may have no idea where landfall is because we're surrounded by water and clouds, but we know he's going to take care of us. Regardless of what we are facing, regardless of what the news says, that 2024 is the end of the world or whatever, Jesus is going to take care of us. We can trust him. We can depend on him. He's the light of the world. He's the good shepherd. And he's going to guide us, provide for us, protect us. It's not about us. It's about him. It's about him. It's about him. It's about him. Your life is about him. The obstacles and problems that you are facing that are overwhelming isn't about you. It's about him. And he can handle it. He can handle it good. It's one thing to be able to talk about these things. It's another thing to live them, to have a lifestyle of submission, a lifestyle of surrender. But that's what's called upon. That's really what the disciples did. Jesus called the 12 disciples, the 12 apostles, to leave their lives, surrender everything, and follow him literally on the road. Peter, James, and John had a thriving business that they abandoned. Think about that. Peter abandoned his career, his family-owned business that provided for his wife, children, and his mother-in-law. And he just walked away from that to follow Jesus. That's submission, that's surrender. They would be walking with Jesus from town to town, having no idea where they would sleep, what they would eat tomorrow, or where in the world Jesus was taking them. And it's not a radical lifestyle. It's the basic, normal expectation. He says, go. We say, yes. He says, leave it. We leave it. We align our lives with who Jesus is and what Jesus is doing. We align it with his teachings and his examples. So if he says to do it, we do it. If he says stay away from it, we stay away from it. If he shows us an example of how to deal with an adulterous woman, that's how we deal with a sinner. If he shows us an example on how to deal with the self-righteous arrogant, we deal with the self-righteous arrogant the way he does. It boils down to commitment applied. Commitment applied. We got to be committed to following Jesus and doing things his way. We got to be committed to surrender and submission. To live lives of righteousness in a world of unrighteousness. To live a life of absolute divine truth in a culture that denies such an existence of a thing. They will convince you that 2 plus 2 sometimes equals 5. Even though the book 1984 warned us against that. The world will want you and me to live boring, normal, sleeper cultural lives instead of being on the Jesus path, which is radical and rebels against the culture and draws the lost to our Savior. It's a huge, huge deal. And it boils down to applied commitment. Not talking it, but living it. And like any active commitment, well, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. The more mornings you get up and go to the gym, the easier it is to go to the gym. The more you turn down donuts and cheesecake, I've been told by others, the easier it is to turn down donuts and cheesecake. We got to exercise those muscles. We're on the spiritual journey. We need to be active followers of Jesus, living that radical life that he is all about. Second phrase, down. Okay. Shine on me.